morning and good afternoon. I don't know if anybody's here in the afternoon yet. Anyway, thanks again to Chad. And again, my name is Ed Murray. I'm a solution consultant here at ServiceNow. And for the next 15, 20 minutes, what we thought we would do is just give you kind of a broad overview of what ServiceNow does, who we are, and some of the capabilities that we might have. And then I'll transition over to Freddie, and you guys can see a demo of what that looks like with the integration between Symantec and ServiceNow. So let me just dive in here. So just to kind of give you an overview of who ServiceNow is, we are publicly traded. We're on the New York Stock Exchange as now. We had about 2,200 customers, about 2,400 employees, and growing. We have major sites around the world as far as the various data centers. Matter of fact, we have 8 paired data centers for redundancy purposes and HA capabilities. Just to kind of give you an idea of what's available at those data centers is we have about 21 petabytes of storage. 4 petabytes is actually in use. There's actually 3.6 billion transactions, that's B with a billion, per month, and about 1.6 million transactions per month per customer. So to kind of give you an idea of where that fits with regards to other folks who are SaaS-based, NetSuite does about 565,000, and Salesforce does about 408,000 per customer per month. So we just do just a ton of transactions across the data centers. And then as far as uptime, we have a 99.95% uptime that's out there. So just incredible as far as what we're able to do from a data center perspective. So what are we? So we're the enterprise IT cloud, and what that means is that we provide a platform for managed services relationship. So what does that mean? So I'll talk a little bit about that in the next slide as far as service relationship management across the enterprise. A lot of folks think of us as more of just an instant problem change, but we're much more than that. So, and I'll explain why here as we go through the presentation. Just as far as the, as I mentioned earlier, so we've got all these data centers that are out there, paired data centers. They're highly securable. Across, we've got all the alphabet soup as far as compliance, like the ISO 27701. PCI, all of those types of things are out there. So if you need to chat with ITS or ServiceNow, we can certainly make all of that security information available to you. So from a business model, we're a SaaS-based company. So basically, everything's out in the cloud. So if you when you go with ServiceNow, you get an instance, and then you also get a database. And again, that database and instance are actually paired across 2 different data centers from a high availability perspective, and we make all of that public to you, so you can go to our website or our service desk and actually see what type of availability you have. And so what does that mean as far as getting to your applications? So basically, if you can access the internet, you can access ServiceNow. So you can access ServiceNow via basically any type of browser, mobile devices, tablets, even Blackberries if you needed to. So it always makes me laugh when I tell folks that, but that's true. So from a revenue perspective, we've been basically doubling our revenue since 2008, and we continue to do so and plan to do so through fiscal 2014 and beyond. So let's just talk a little bit about what service relationship management is and how it evolved over time. So let me jump to the next screen here. So I'm going to take just a little bit of history of where ServiceNow came from. So ServiceNow was originally built in 2004 as a platform by a gentleman named Fred Luddy, who was actually CTO of Peregrine and Remedy. And so he actually went out and decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and build this platform. And then he took it to investors and said, hey, I've got this really great platform. I can pretty much build anything on it. And they said, well, what's on it? He goes, well, what do you want? And it kind of went back and forth. And he said, all right. So they weren't really willing to invest at a particular moment. So he went back and said, you know, what I know is help desk, from my Peregrine and Remedy days. And so he said, you know what, this would be a perfect opportunity to fix all the things that I broke back in the day. So on this platform that Fred Luddy built out, developed this help desk. So from a help desk perspective, he built his incident problem change, and things went really, really well. So people began to adopt it. And then as time moved on a little bit, we began to focus in on other things outside of help desk around IT service management. So things like CMDB, service catalog, things of that request. What other things that might be out there? Asset management type of things, and moved into the operations side of things, right? Building out workflows, right? Trying to automate some of those processes that are out there, and then begin to move and focus in on other things across the IT department. So that could be everything from, we begin to focus in on vendor management, facilities management, right? Those types of things. And then as time went on, there's this whole platform. It kind of went, and it came kind of back around. So as folks were seeing all the success from that IT was having, other departments started wanting to build applications, and it took us right back to that platform. And so, we have lots and lots of customers right now. Everybody from, say, the NBA, who actually focuses in, or they actually have an application that manages all of the referees across all of the games that are played out there, right? Where do they stay? What hotels? All the logistics, all the processes that go around with that. The NBA does that. We have, I'm down in Houston, Texas, so there's a lot of oil and gas customers. So we have health and safety applications that a lot of the oil and gas guys are building. And then we even have, say, drill bit returns is another application that's out there. So I'm going to give you a few links at the end of this presentation that I encourage you to take a look at. There is, on our website, there is a custom application I guess PDF or white paper that we have that lists just it's about 30 pages long. That lists all these different applications that folks are building. And there's and then we also have a share out there now that we're putting out there where folks can actually share their applications and other types of stuff out there. So there's a lot of collaboration. Anyway, so the bottom line is that ServiceNow has its roots right in the help desk, but as time has moved on and progressed, we've actually built on this platform all of these other applications. The great thing is that since it in ServiceNow is an application, we can now share data across all of those various applications, right? So there's this whole notion of consolidation as well, so we can start to bring in other applications that you may not have necessarily been able to do, and so we have a single data model that we can then report against. So again, you have all of the functionality of incident problem change. We're also adding in other things like software development lifecycle, and then anything else that you might build, like for example, HR benefits requests that might want to go through from a service management perspective. So that being said, let's kind of go in and talk about what do we used to use, right? So in the day, as far as folks making different requests into the help desk or just across the organization, you had this inbox and outbox. I still remember when I started working, I still had a cubbyhole where all of this interdepartmental mail would go into, and that's where I would get my mail, and then I would actually go into, if I need to send something, I would put it back in the manila envelope, put it back in the cubbyhole, and then go off and make it off to some other place, right? So this whole inbox, outbox, right? And so that paradigm hasn't really necessarily changed, right? Our inbox and outbox are not necessarily those cubbyholes anymore, but it's your email, right? So you have that email inbox that everything comes into, and not a lot of it necessarily goes out, right? And so it's also hard to kind of keep track of all of those emails as well, too. So this is kind of what we're doing today as far as how we're managing a lot of these service relationships across the enterprise versus emails, right? Everybody's familiar with that, right? You get all of these requests that come in, whether it be, hey, I got a problem, hey, I need to order a computer, hey, I've got questions around my HR, or hey, the sink's leaking in the bathroom, or the projector bulb has gone out, right? All those things all come through emails, and they get lost, right? Perfect example of this is I was with a customer the other day, and actually they're a prospect, and he was saying that he got a phone call from a really angry manager that he wanted to know where his computer was, and he said that he made the request for a computer 2 weeks ago, and this particular prospect was looking through his emails, couldn't find it anywhere, and basically just had to fall on a sword and say, hey, listen, I'm really sorry, but I can't find this thing. Let me go ahead and get that request for you now, right? So from an email perspective, things get lost and it's untrackable. The other way that we manage information is via spreadsheets, right? So I've worked with customers in the past that had all of their the IP addresses that they use across the enterprise, all loaded up into spreadsheets, right? And they either check it out, check it back in based on what servers are being provisioned out there. They also track what applications are owned by what people via these spreadsheets, right? So you have all these spreadsheets. And of course, there's phone calls, right? People pick up the phone and say, hey, I need this, and sometimes that gets done, sometimes it doesn't. And the one that's not on the screen that I think happens more often than not is folks poking their heads up over the cubicle and saying, hey man, can you go ahead and help me out with this sort of a thing? So lots of ways that we've been doing things, and really these 3 or 4 different ways are really, really hard to track and report on. An example of this would be the way this sort of unstructured service model is actually works is someone, I'll back up to, so the way that ServiceNow sort of, the way that we manage things is we have requesters and we have providers, or fulfillers and requesters sort of a thing. So, so basically the way that this typically works via email or spreadsheets or phone calls is someone actually says, hey, I need something. Like, for example, I need to order a computer, right? So you make that request out to the help desk or to the IT department. Hey, so I send an email, and that goes out to this request. Don't hear anything, so you send another email. Then email, did anybody reply? You set up a follow email, right? And then someone says, hey, what was that original request? And then that person has to explain. It's another email saying, hey, is anyone working on it? And then all these emails go back and forth, right? So we provide more information. The provider goes out, requests that that particular the item, the computer. We need to identify who the approvers are for that particular thing. Then we send emails out to them. We start tracking down who's approved, who's not approved. Send some more emails back to get more of the request done. The requester sends out another email saying, "Hey, where's that status?" Right? So you get the idea, right? So it goes back and forth, right? And there's no feedback loop back to the requester or the person making that request for that computer. And so that's one of the real benefits to ServiceNow is that, and I'll show you in the next slide, is how do we manage that particular process. Right, so let's go jump over there. So basically what we do from a service relationship management, and then again, this crosses the entire spectrum of the enterprise, right? So this crosses everything from your incident, from your help desk folks, to your HR, to facilities, to your vendor management, to procurement, right? Across all of those different silos of folks, they all have this sort of this notion that you need to make requests to these various business services, and we need to get some sort of a feedback loop as to where we're at and be able to track those particular requests as well, right? And then we can report on them too from a KPI and metrics capability. So that's the great thing about ServiceNow is we keep all of that in that single data model across the platform there. So how do we do this? So we essentially provide a number of different ways out of the box that your customers can interact with you and IT or across the enterprise. So first off, we have a service catalog, and that service catalog can be everything from, hey, I've got an incident, I have a problem, there's an outage, I need to order some computers, I have an HR request, there's facilities request, that maybe the bulb's out in the projector, right? There's also a knowledge base component where you can actually use the knowledge base to provide information around, say, news, around, say, there might be an outage from SAP or PeopleSoft perspective, and or you just provide straight up knowledge base articles around how do I turn on email on my iPhone or my Android device. And then there's a whole collaboration perspective as well from a chat perspective, so we can actually create chat rooms. For example, we have a help desk chat, or you can have an HR chat, or facilities chat, right? So someone can manage that chat help desk and be able to provide information via chat back and forth. And then since the things are integrated, we can actually open up tickets from those as well, or take some sort of action based on that particular chat, and then relay that information back to the requester or the your particular customer. So if folks have leveraged, say, this one of either the collaboration perspective or the knowledge search and can't find what they need, they can go to the service catalog, and in that service catalog, we can provide some sort of a service record, right? They make that request, we generate some various tasks. Do they need help? Do they need to order something? need to change something, or they just need some information, like, for example, an HR benefits question. So that particular request goes out, and then we can actually begin to automate. And this is where one of the most powerful pieces of ServiceNow is our workflow engine built right into the platform. One of the great things about the workflow engine is that you don't have to take the whole system down to actually work on your workflows or upload a new workflow. You can actually build a workflow. It's this drag and drop workflow where you can add in approvals, notifications, build out tasks. You can actually even orchestrate outside of ServiceNow. So you can actually go out and touch other applications via our orchestration portal. So we can go out and run PowerShell or SSH. We can actually go out and provision virtual machines via the Virtual Center, or we can actually provision Amazon EC2 machines as well, right? So we can go out and touch things outside of ServiceNow. Matter of fact, we can even actually provision folks in Active Directory if you wanted to, right? So you can actually automate the whole onboarding process if you wanted to from a workflow perspective. Matter of fact, I have a customer here in Houston who has on their offboarding process, there's 32 different tasks that have to be completed. And in the past, those were 32 different emails that had to go out across the enterprise. Now they brought it all into a single workflow that generates tasks that goes out to the various folks, and a person is not offboarded until all of those tasks are actually completed. So a great way to be able to manage that and know where we're at along the way. So again, generate approval notifications and all of that. And then the other thing too that we do within ServiceNow is that we can actually provide a feedback loop back to the customer. So that can be either email if you want to, or it can be back on, or a combination of both, where you can actually provide feedback on the employee self-service webpage, right? So sort of give them that FedEx or UPS sort of a, here we are along the way, you know, your expected delivery is this, right? And we can manage all of that within your workflows. The other thing within the workflows is that we can actually assign and track various work, right? And so we can apply SLAs around that as well and find out, are we meeting the business SLAs and assumptions that things are getting done on time. And then the last component is that we can begin to report on all of that too. So we can actually we have KPI dashboards, we have lots and lots of reporting capabilities, right? Fairly simple reports, and then we also have some performance analytics that you can run on your on all of the different tasks that are in the system. As a matter of fact, you can actually get these really great dashboards within ServiceNow that can show you everything from your project portfolio management to your IT costs. You can see what your budgets look like. You can see SLAs across all of your business services that you might manage, and then you can actually see what changes that are going out there, right? And you can see all of that from a single web page. Very, very, very powerful. All right. So what are the four pillars of service management? So basically there's a service experience, right? So you really want to transform that from an end user experience, right? So you want to really provide sort of this, what do they see today when they go home? They can actually go to, you know, Amazon or Netflix or whatever, and it's really, really easy to use and easy to get information. And we really want to provide that sort of same experience for folks when they're at work, right? So that's what we do from our employee self-service portal. We really provide that end user experience, sort of a, where do you find things, how do you get things, and then be able to order and ask for information, right? The other is from a record keeping perspective, right? So people are making these requests, they're generating tasks, generating notifications, all that kind of sort of thing, providing SLAs and all that. So how do we keep track of all of that stuff? And that's all done via our task-based processes and the integration between all of the different applications that are sitting on that particular platform, right? And then the other is process automation, right? So we want to begin to automate a lot of those tasks that are repeatable and standardized, right? You can start to begin to automate those processes via our workflow management component, and you can get your hands off that stuff, right? So you don't need to have someone babysitting a bunch of processes. Where now you just turn it on, let the workflow take over and manage that for you. And then the last is the business management component, right? So that's everything from IT cost management to SLAs, reports, all of the sorts of things, performance analytics, all of that kind of stuff is all built right into the system, right? And then again, providing and fundamentally changing your service relationship across the entire enterprise. This dives in a little bit deeper as far as these are concerned here. What does this look like? So ServiceNow basically becomes the hub of all of these sorts of service relationships throughout the enterprise, right? So it's not just about IT, it's about fundamentally changing how we interact with all of the business services across the enterprise, right? So it can be human resources, can be your facilities management. It can even be things that aren't even on this particular page, like I mentioned earlier around drill bit returns, or the NBA using ServiceNow as a scheduling for all of their for the referees and making sure that they have the right hotels and all that. By the way, just a really good article or use case is on our website with a research facility out of Switzerland called CERN, and they basically use ServiceNow for just about everything. Everything from there's a pothole, they need card keyed access to hotels, they need a taxi. All of that's all on their CERN help desk. It's just amazing all the things that they've done. So I encourage you to take a look at that. All right. So what is the ServiceNow platform? So what do we actually? How do we do and how do we do this? So today, typically, we have all of these different disparate applications that are sitting across the enterprise, and they're cobbled together via either some sort of integration, whatever. And so what ServiceNow does is actually brings all of those disparate applications all together onto a single platform. And this platform, where we sit there at the bottom, that service automation platform, this actually is, and we don't do it enough justice with just the four highlighted the little details on there at the bottom as far as single architecture, shared resources, right? Single data model, and custom app development. There's everything in the platform from a CMDB, the service catalog, chat, live feed, reporting capabilities. It's just that's really the secret sauce across in the entire platform. And then on top of this platform, whoops, back the other way, sorry, is we begin to build out all of these other applications that we have available to folks. So everything from operations management, right? So being able to go out and discover your devices that are out on the network, configuration, automation, orchestration, right? Even event management. So we can actually pull in events that are triggered via, say SCCM or something, or SCCM, maybe even SolarWinds or whatever, and bring those into ServiceNow, and then we can determine and normalize that. Is there a bunch of them? Is it a flagging sort of an event? And then based on that event and certain conditions, we can actually open an incident for you based on those events. Application development, so there's a SDLC or software development lifecycle component. There's app creator. There's even a sort of a notion where we have the citizens developer, where you can actually build out your own forms and provision those out to the desktop, not the desktop, but out to your shared, your employee self-service portal there. And it goes on, service management, right? So I always kind of call this our Lego. So it's all sort of the building blocks that you have. So you start with the service automation platform, which is where we initially began as a company. The service management that's out there, so that's your catalog and change and work and incident and all of that, all built right on that service management. And then IT business management as well now. So that's the so we have government risk and compliance, vendor management, resource, demand management from a project perspective. There's project out there as well. So really all of this built on the same platform that really you can leverage across not only your help desk through IT, but you can also leverage that across the enterprise as well. Just a few companies that are out there that across all the different sort of verticals that are out there. This is just a kind of quick highlight as to some of the folks that are leveraging ServiceNow. If you get with the folks at ITS or ServiceNow, where I'm sure we can provide more that might be localized to where you are. And then we're happy to get you in front of customers too. That's one of the things that we really like to do is have our customers talk to prospects, because they typically do a better selling job than we do. People just find ServiceNow it fundamentally changes the way that they're doing the business. So again, we like to really have folks our customers talk to prospects. And then a couple of the last slides here. So this is kind of where we see ourselves. We really see ourselves as, you leverage your LinkedIn for career. You leverage Facebook or maybe one of those other ones that are out there, Pinterest, stuff like that, from a life perspective and personal life. And we really see ServiceNow being where you go to do work, right? And then lastly, here's a few links. And so the common question we typically get is, are we going to be able to get this particular deck? And absolutely yes. But I want to point you to a couple of things here from a link perspective. So here's our homepage here, ServiceNow. The keynotes, I highly encourage you to take a look at our day 2 keynote, which is Fred Luddy talking about the various innovations that we have within our latest release, and then where we're going from a company perspective. Just a fantastic. And then there's also we also have there's a couple of other ones out there from our CTO and our Chief Operations Officer as well. Our wiki, so this is where we keep all of our documentation. So we don't have a bunch of PDFs to go download or whatever. You can hit our wiki site and look at everything that you might need to know around ServiceNow. So everything from what devices are supported, what browsers, is there anything out there let me just go to look at a particular application, say like vendor management or something like that. Our community is very strong as well, so I would definitely take a look at the community site. And from the community site, you can get to our Share Now. This is where we're actually sharing applications across the community. So these are where you can download applications, kind of like an iTunes store, App Store. And then, but there's no, actually these are all free, by the way. And then from a ServiceNow Application Central, this is just a nice web page that shows all the different applications that folks are building out there. You can click on one of those, and it'll show you who's doing it and what they're doing. With that, I think that's all I have this morning. So I'm going to turn that back over to Chad or to Freddie.
Thanks, Ed, for that good overview of ServiceNow. Hello, everyone. I'm Freddie Dorsey. I am a automation/managed services engineer for ServiceNow here at ITS, and I'm going to give a quick demonstration of our Altiris SMP 7.1 to ServiceNow integration that we here have developed to enable you to leverage your existing computer resources in the SMP platform from the ServiceNow platform. The benefit of that is that you can access and take action on the resources in your SMP platform from the ServiceNow platform without ever having to access your SMP. Let's take a quick look at our SMP. You can see we have the resources here, and they have the prefix SYM, all our machines and whatnot. And we have host 1 here, which I'll be using for our example. These machines via our import tool can be directly imported in our CI data within ServiceNow, where we can view, edit, and otherwise take action on from all within ServiceNow. And these changes will be reflected over on our SMP as well. If you do a search for SYM, the prefix for our machines, we can see we have them listed here. And if we click on, we can see the resource data for it, all tied together by a correlation ID. And we can also take action on that machine, such as delivering software, updating client configuration, or deleting the SMP and ServiceNow computer record on the machine. From a technician's point of view, we can also take action on a machine directly from the incident page. So let's demonstrate that by going to our incidents table and looking at our open incidents. And we'll use Aaron Hudson. So let's say we're a technician taking calls, creating incidents, and resolving issues. In this case, we get a call from Aaron Hudson, who has an issue. He is getting prompted on his machine to install the latest version of Java. So before working on that incident, let's take a look at his machine. Now remember, he's on host 1, and this is his machine. And we can see on the removes program list that he does not have Java installed. So let's make that happen. Scroll down to our related links. We have a process built in to automatically deliver Java to him. So if we click that, we confirm that we want to deliver Java to his machine, which is host 1. We'll hit OK. And if we go back to our machine, see in our task, there it goes. The management agent gets the kickoff, and it is installing Java right now. It says a success, and if we refresh our add removes program list, we'll see that he now has Java. Technicians can waste a lot of time, hours, or even days resolving the same types of issues that can all be automated in ServiceNow. So we can see that Java is installed now. So once everything's confirmed to be working, we can go ahead and resolve that incident. And it's done. And that incident has been taken care of pretty easily. Another scenario is allowing users to request software via the service catalog and have that software delivered automatically once the request has been approved. So we'll go to our service catalog. And here we have our category for some of our services. So we'll go to software. And let's say Aaron wants to install Notepad++ on his machine. You can see here, he goes to the service catalog, goes to the software, and you can see here, Notepad. And it says this software can be deployed automatically via the Symantec agent once it's approved. So he clicks that, he adds it to cart, and he gets a prompt saying which machine he is using. So the system will know which machine to deliver it to. So it populates for host 1. We add that item to cart, and we check it out. Get a prompt saying your request has been submitted. If we go to our open request, here's the request that Aaron submitted for Notepad++. We can see here that we have a workflow put in place to automatically approve any software requests that are below $1,000. And Notepad++ was $0. So that's automatically approved. And the delivery task is automatically deployed. So if we go to our Symantec management state, we already see that Notepad++ has already been installed. So go to our Admiral's program list and refresh that. You can see we have Notepad++ in here. And it's also in our new programs. So that's just a quick demonstration of our SMP to ServiceNow integration practice that we here at ITS have developed. And I hope you enjoy the demonstration.